Okay, so how to win the trust of difficult and high-performing cold callers and salespeople. So this is something that I want to talk about for a while because really the thing that keeps most business owners who are younger from succeeding is the human element. Usually, it's coming from inside the house, the problems. And there's a quote by Ed Parker, who was this giant Hawaiian guy who founded Kempo Karate. And he said, I can defeat you physically with or without a reason, but I can only defeat your mind with a reason. So I always go back to this quote because in sales, or like if you're training someone or with a client or whatever, you can muscle people into doing what you want. You can say, this is how much money I've made, this is how great I am, I'm going to fire you, whatever. And you can get them to do what you want. But if you want their best and you really want a high performer, they're usually a little difficult. They're usually, because usually what makes them stubborn and what makes them resist parts of the training is also what makes them good. So if you want talent to trust you and communicate and give you their best, I'm sorry to say, you can't buy it. You can't expect it. You have to earn it. You have to earn it. Here are three ways to do it. So the first way is you stay with them and believe in them when it's hard. So I'm going to tell you a story. So when I was 24, 25, I got a cat from a family friend, and apparently the cat had been abused, or they didn't even want to tell me what was going on. Lily called it. So I got this cat. For 2 days, I never saw the cat because she just disappeared. And then finally she was hungry. I put the food out, and then she disappeared again. And then she started to come up, and I said, listen, this is taking too long. So I decided I was going to pick up the cat, and I wouldn't let her go until she calmed down. So I'd pick up the cat, she would scratch me, she would do the bleeding everywhere. And then I would start, and I would wait until she calmed down, and eventually she would calm down. And then I would move to put her on the table, and then she'd scratch again. And then I would go back, and then I would move, and it took like 2 hours, but I got her in one day to trust. So she let me pick her up, and she let me put her down. She saw that no matter what she did to me, I wasn't going to hurt her. We had a training yesterday with a caller who's a good caller, but there were some systems we had to improve, and you could tell that she was getting defensive because she didn't really know that I was on her side. But because I stayed with her and I went piece by piece, one tiny exercise at a time, when you do that with someone, they really feel like you care. And I was like, I'm not giving up. I'm focused completely on you. And you stay with them through the discomfort. That, for talent, if you actually care, will make them really perform. They're going to do their best for themselves, but they're also going to do their best for you. The second thing that you do is you want to win and help win. So if you're just the tough guy, if you're just like, we're going to cut our bottom 20% performer, if you're doing this, you could get some loyalty from that, but it's not usually enough to have really an all-star team. What we like to do is, like, I always explain my hiring and firing process to a call. Let's say a caller really screws up bad. And I say, listen, I've been doing this for a long time. Usually we have if you make a big mistake once, it's fine. If you make a big mistake twice, it's fine. If it happens 3 times, we have to let you go, not because of you, but because over the last 15 years, I know that if someone does something bad 3 times in a row that's really not excusable, there's always going to be a 4th and a 5th. But once or twice it happens. And then they're like, I get it. Then it's not personal. But the other thing that I always say is, I'm like, listen, I don't want to win by myself. I want to win with you. I want to win with you. But I have to put the client first. So if I have to let you go, I will. But my much, much, much preferred outcome is that everybody wins together. And it has to be true. You can't just be lip service. And it's true. I will fight hard. I'll fight as hard to keep an underperforming employee who I know has potential as I will to keep a client. Like, I will really push. Only when they reject me 3 times and they just don't, and I just can't coach them, then I'm like, listen, I can't. But if I don't get that, I really, really push. The other thing that I use that's really, really powerful, and I've seen people do this with children too, and it's very, very effective, is the Socratic method. So somebody does something like they don't push for a call, they do something that you know is bad, and you know that they also know it's bad. And this happens so much with kids, and you're like, you just talk to them and you're like, why did you do this? We already talked about this, you already know it's bad. Just tell me what was going through your mind when you did it. Like, give me your thought process. One of the things that you learn in neurolinguistic programming and applied psychology is people always make the best choice that's available to them, but it doesn't always make sense. Like, even why would someone commit murder or something? Why, how could that be the best choice? But if you go really deep into their thought process, you're like, okay, well, there's some issues here, but I can see how they got to this conclusion. So with the caller, and this particular caller, they didn't push for a call. There's like, you know what? The way I pushed for a call in my first couple of days, I had this prospect get so angry and he hung up on me and I felt awful. And then I noticed since then I don't push as hard. And I'm like, so I taught him how to push for the call in a way that wasn't hard. So I'm like, listen, we both know that usually what happens in these cases, we send an email and, maybe you read it, maybe you don't. But what we prefer to do is take 10 minutes, we meet you, we give you a white glove onboarding. It's going to be faster than you doing it on your own. We really want to show you how we're different from other competitors in the space who really don't care about you, don't know who you are. So can you give us like 10 minutes? Is it so much to like, you have to find a way to push that doesn't make them feel bad. And you can say the same script, but in a different way, and it works. So I just worked with him on how to do that. And then he has a path forward because not everyone sells the same way. A lot of the sales training is meant for like 25-year-old ex-athletes. And that's not that who are men. That doesn't work for everybody. But everyone has a process. Women can get away with things that men can't, and vice versa. So I hope this was helpful. This is a deep topic, so it's not going to apply to most of you. But when you get to that like 100 like ish number, it's really important. So anyway, have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.